morning! Today we've got a day test of the Elf Camo CC Cream. This has been highly requested, so here we go. Honestly, I really liked the Elf Camo CC Cream, and then we did that day test against the Maybelline, was it called Urban Cover, I want to say? And I really liked that as well. I didn't really feel like I needed another dupe. But so many of you messaged me to ask for a review of this. So here we go. I will tell you I've already worn it once and I don't think it's the same animal at all. So we're not going to compare the two. We're just going to do this as a day test on its own. I do have a video comparing the Maybelline and the It Cosmetics. If you want to see that video and kind of see how it's different to this feels like a totally different thing. If you saw my vlog at the weekend, you might already think you know what I'm going to say about this, but hold your horses because, as I've said a million times, what makes something great for me won't necessarily work for you and vice versa. So, number one, it is very high coverage. It's considerably more high coverage than I usually would go for. I mean, really, it's incredible. This is, I mean, I want to say this is the wrong colour for me, but it matches my neck perfectly. I'm just kind of dealing with some redness right now. But that's insane. It also, it's very, very high coverage, but it's not super heavy when applied with a sponge. I at first applied this with a brush and my fingertips, kind of a combination, and I wasn't feeling the heaviness of it. Whereas this, it feels a lot lighter. I'm going to bring you in to see some texture. This is just natural light, but I really don't think it's too terrible. You can kind of see where it's gathering because I have hair on my lip. But for such a high coverage foundation, it doesn't seem like super heavy and cakey to look at. I also went over my eyebrows, and can you even with this, like, this eyebrow looks red by comparison. It's a little bit nuts. I do need to have them topped up as soon as salons are open again, because I actually had an appointment to have my brows redone. Like, we went into lockdown, I think, on the Monday or the Tuesday, and my brow appointment was like the following Monday. So it's been over a year since my last appointment, and they are definitely in need of a top up. I have definitely found foundations that apply nicer with my fingertips, like the heat of your hands kind of blends it all together. I've never found anything that applies better with a brush. I have found plenty of foundations that apply well with a brush, and it'll do. Basically, it's either hands or a sponge for me, and this for sure, it's like a completely different foundation. It's gone on like an airbrush, much lighter weight foundation, but it's still giving me crazy coverage. So I put on the rest of my makeup. I just put on a little bit of all kinds, like really, really basic makeup. And then I used this mineral packed powder, this one, just kind of T-zone a little bit, because it's very, very fine. Now, looking in the mirror in natural light, I like this. I think it looks nice. Then I discovered, I think I'm getting a mole just here, just a teeny little one. I mean, that's a pretty cool place to get a mole, but it's just a teeny, teeny fleck. So I turned on the light on my mirror just to inspect it, and the foundation looks quite different under a light. It does just pick up where it's kind of settled, like here. Also, this is my new mole, I believe. And around my nose. That was my kind of first opinion of it when I wore it at the weekend, that it just felt and looked quite heavy. Now this definitely feels a lot lighter, and we're already starting off kind of a better point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay over now some clips of like an hour and a half in. My skin is oily. It tends to kind of have a sweet spot a couple of hours after applying it where it looks its absolute best. As someone pointed out the other day, that's kind of what the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray does. It gives you that instant settled in makeup look, which it absolutely does. And especially if you've got dry skin, that's why that is such an amazing product. But if you've got oily skin, you kind of get there naturally anyway. And if you've got, you know, back in the day, in the old world, if you had like an hour's commute, then you didn't need that setting spray, because by the time you got to work, it was kind of like in that perfect zone. But I just kind of wanted to show you what it looked like, whether or not we were still having that kind of dryness and the slightly cakey look, because although when you put it on, you want that to look great, it's kind of more important how it wears throughout the day, because only you see it when you first apply it. So it's been around 8 hours, and I'm gonna have to take you over to the window because it's pretty dark. Oh, almost spring, almost spring. Can't wait for the non-wintry light. Okay, now this plus the clips earlier, yeah, I was painting the fence outside today. Didn't really think about it when I started this video. Apologies, but you can still see the foundation underneath, and it wouldn't be a review of mine without something really random, like paint on my face. Obviously that means that I've actually been out and doing things in the garden, and so perhaps that's kind of made the foundation wear in a different way, but I don't think so. I've been really, really impressed with the oil control of this, because like, you know, I have been out and doing things and I don't seem oily at all. That is a major, major plus. I don't think currently it looks any worse than it did a couple of hours in. Like around my nose and here, it gathered a little bit. It kind of gathered on my top lip, but that may have been more application. I may have put that on a little too heavily, given that I know that I have got facial hair, but if it's there, because sometimes I remove it, I need to kind of like work around the mustache. But I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It's not something that I would want to wear every single day, and I'll tell you why. There's really only one reason. It's the stuff around the nose. I'm used to wearing something like an actual BB cream, something lighter, something that if it knocks off my nose a little bit, it's not the end of the world, because I'm a face toucher, which is a real problem during this pandemic. But if you are used to wearing heavy duty foundations, like a high coverage foundation, I think you're going to probably really enjoy this. The only things that are negatives for me are things to do with it being a high coverage foundation, because that's not my bag usually, but otherwise I'm really impressed with it. And I would love to hear from those of you who tried it as well. So let us know in the comments how you got along with it. The color that I used, always forget that, is Fair. It is also SPF 50. I never really pay a tremendous amount of attention to that, because you should always use an SPF underneath. Not that I do, but I don't think that you should rely on your foundation for an SPF. I've promised myself this year I'm gonna just kind of build it into my skincare routine. In the morning, brush my teeth, wash my face, SPF regardless, because I'm not wearing makeup, and so I'm not doing the full routine all of the time. And you know, I'm 35 now. All the more important. Color correcting, full coverage, natural finish, would agree. It wasn't too matte. It didn't look particularly heavy necessarily. Again, I can't compare it to my regular foundation, but for a high coverage foundation, I didn't think it looked too heavy. I think it was pretty natural. And I was really, really impressed with the oil control. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for those of you who were wondering what I thought of this and wondering whether or not maybe you should give it a go. I think it's pretty good. And I will see you guys on Friday with another Faves and Fails.